Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. My name is Alex Folacci and I'm in charge of the health, fitness and longevity of many high-profile clients in New York. I come from France and I was a two-time national champion in the decathlon. I came to New York about 10 years ago and I've coached over 500 clients. So I specialize in coaching highly successful men over 35. I noticed in the longevity community many of you are very excited about the latest biohacking trends, the latest pills or protocol that can help you add another 5 years to your life expectancy. But when I ask you questions about your workout regimen, and when I start digging a little deeper, I often realize that you guys don't work out enough or you don't do the right things. For example, tonight, how many of you exercise more than 3 times a week? Put your hand up. Okay, it's less than half of the crowd. How many of you do more than 4 times? I can tell you, look pretty fit and pretty strong. Very good. What I've noticed is many people, they're only going to do yoga, or just weightlifting, or just running. And if you don't have a wide variety in the exercises that you do, which are 4 different pillars. So tonight I came here to lecture you guys and to explain to you the way I coach my clients. So the 4 pillars. Number 1, cardio. Number 2, weightlifting. Number 3, stretching and mobility. And number 4, your core and your abs. So if I dig a little deeper on every category of those 4 pillars. Cardio. We all know that to live a longer life, you need to do cardiovascular activities. You need to run, you need to do the rowing, boxing, high intensity exercises, whatever that might be. Very often people tell me they walk 10,000 steps a day. Unfortunately, 10,000 steps doesn't count as cardio because you don't get your heart rate up over 150 beats per minute. So you don't strengthen your heart, you don't strengthen your cardiovascular system. Don't get me wrong, it's better than staying on your couch, watching the Kardashians, and not walking at all. You're burning calories when you're walking 10,000 steps, but it doesn't count as cardio. So, if you want to live a longer life, cardio is extremely important. You will burn calories, strengthen your lungs capacity, strengthen your heart, flush out the cholesterol deposits in your veins and arteries. There are so many benefits to it. Don't be lazy to run. A big part of the program I do with my clients involves running a mile as fast as you can. So they start around 8 or 9 minutes, and out of 500 clients, I got about 20 of those to run sub 6 minute mile, which for a 50-year-old gentleman that never really run in his life, it's pretty good. I've even had guys 67 years old, have not run for 30 years, and after less than 6 months, able to run under 10 minutes on a mile and bench press 165 pounds, which for somebody who's almost 70 years old is amazing. Then, number 2, the weightlifting. That can be bodybuilding, powerlifting, CrossFit, all those kind of fitness activities that you're using dumbbells, kettlebells, barbells, all the machine in the gym. As you get older, sarcopenia starts creeping in. Your muscle mass is going to melt away. So it's very important you keep your muscle mass strong because as they were saying earlier on the panel, if you start falling because your muscles can't carry you through life and you're too weak and you step down the curb, you break a leg, you start walking with a cane. It happens to you again, you are in a walker. And then again, you end up in a wheelchair, which then your life expectancy diminishes a lot. So having strong quads is very important. Having a strong scapular belt also is very important. And remember, I speak specifically for men because that's the niche market. That's the kind of people I work with. Now, for the stretching, mobility, flexibility, yoga, and posture. So, as you get older, we start shrinking. Our intervertebral disc starts shrinking. That's why we lose 1, 2, 3 inches, and at 90 years old, we are just hunched forward. Joint pains, low range of motion in your hips, in your knees, in your lower back. So it's extremely important to work on your mobility which is the range of motion on your joints and on your flexibility, which is the elasticity of your muscles. Plus, your posture is also very important because if you have a bad posture, when I was young, when I was a teenager, I used to walk looking on the floor like this, on my tippy toes. I was never looking far enough. My shoulders were like this terrible posture. Once I realized that, I started to stand up way more straight, the chin up, opening up my chest, pinching the shoulder blades behind, makes you look way more self-confident. So now I walk around like this, like a macho man, and that makes me look way more confident. So the problem with our society also is we're too often on the phone. We're looking at the phone, and that gives us a very bad posture. There's a lot of exercises that can correct this, such as behind the neck presses, that strengthens all the muscles you need and, and rearrange your cervicals, has a lot of benefit to counteract the bad effect of being on the phone too much. Then the last point was your abs and your core. You want to build an exoskeleton around your waist. Many men have a belly after 30 because they're very busy with work. They go to lunch meeting, dinner meeting, they eat too much, they drink a lot, and they get inflammation in their belly. So they reach out to me, they ask me if they can get a six-pack in 6 months, let's say. Of course, it's not impossible, but I have to completely change their lifestyle, recalibrate their diet, and the way they eat. It's not only about the quality of the food, but also the quantity. All of the longevity studies made on animals, on mice, prove that the ones who eat less than they should outlive greatly the ones that overeat. So anybody who leaves the table without filling up the belly completely, it's a problem. You're shortening your life expectancy. So sometimes we've been trained since we were kids to finish completely our plate, to eat everything in the plate and not waste the food. And that's not a good thing because it's smarter to put it in your fridge and eat your leftovers tomorrow than stuff yourself like a turkey and lose some life expectancy. Or even throw it in the trash. Don't even feel bad for wasting food sometimes because you're shortening your life by doing so. Reducing the inflammation, like they were talking about the microbiome, very important for your guts. If you're swollen, you need to do intermittent fasting. That helps a lot because you give a longer break to your digestive system by just drinking water and not activating your digestion. So to trigger autophagy, which is recycling the cells, the old cells of your body, the cancerous cells, the unhealthy cells. Fasting is one of the main things that can help you. You can also take spermidine, which is a supplement derived from wheat germ extract that helps trigger autophagy. So this will lower your risk of cancer. Also, a fun fact, 85% of centenarians are female. And one of the reasons why is because men tend to not want to go to the doctor to get checkups, to check on any potential cancer that they would catch early. So I'm sure the men that are here tonight, you seem to be very health conscious and you're more proactive than reactive. But many men, believe it or not, they rather not know what is wrong with their body, or if they have an injury, they just hope it's going to get better tomorrow. And if it doesn't improve, they still postpone going to the doctor until it is too late. So, there's a list of at least 20 cancers that us men should get tested on a regular basis, especially after 40 years old, because if you catch anything early, you dramatically increase your chances of survival and of recovering from it. So, the average life expectancy in America is 77 years old. If you remove from the equation cancers and cardiovascular illnesses, you add 10.4 years of life expectancy. On top of that, if you have a good lifestyle, a good diet, good supplements that reduce inflammation, and oxidative stress in your body, you're going to have a way better longevity and increase your chances of living over 100 years old. I don't see any reason why we should die around 80, because if we study all the protocol we can do, from the medicines, the workout regimen, the supplements, the diet, a low stress life, and controlling all the different pieces of the puzzle, we automatically increase our life expectancy easily by 20 years. So that's very important to take control of everything. If you don't know your data, your blood work, your hormone levels, and if you don't have the right workout program, for example, the basis of the programs I do with my clients is the heavy bench press and the very fast mile. When you improve your mile, your time on the mile, you're going to lose weight, you're going to lose fat, you're going to lose your belly, and you're going to burn much more calories, improve your cardiovascular system, strengthen your heart. It depends. My best time is 4 minutes 55, and I can bench press 365 as well. So the goal is to get a very heavy bench press, so you're going to be in a V shape and not in a potato shape anymore. Potato shape is skinny shoulders and big belly. You don't want to be like this. I've had many clients coming to me in this situation, and of course by taking control of every different aspect of their life, their lifestyle, I mean their workout regimen, everything they eat. On the diet you don't want to be too strict because it's not sustainable. A very strict diet, somebody might be able to follow it for 2 weeks and then they're going to fall back to their bad habits. So it's better, for example, to reduce in half whatever the bad food they're consuming or their alcohol consumption as well. Some clients come to me and one of the questions I always ask at the beginning is how many drinks a week are you having? Of course, they always say less than the actual number is. But if they tell me 10, I say, all right, let's try to cut that down to 5. And you're already going to see a much better effect on your health. You still enjoy your social life, and you will have less negative effect on your health and fitness. Because I have clients showing up hangover to work out, and the quality of their workout sucks. They can't do as many reps, they just feel terrible. And their sleep is also affected, and we know the sleep is very important for the health and longevity. So, when I take clients in, we try to understand all the aspects around their lifestyle and their workout regimen. Very often they don't do anything and they need somebody to really guide them through the whole protocol and to hold them accountable. I always say if you trust me and listen to me for at least 90%, you're going to reach your goals no matter what. The ones who try to negotiate to do less, usually they end up, I just have to fire them because I only give my time to motivated people that are going to be coachable and listen and ready for a real change in their health. So, do you guys have any questions regarding workout program?
Like hill sprinting, like a hip workout.
So hill sprinting, I remember doing those kind of workouts when I was preparing for the 400 meter, so the quarter mile. It builds a lot of lactic. Sprints is even better than running a mile. But when I'm in the gym, I can't really make them do sprints because on the treadmill it's a little tricky, you know. But I always recommend sprints. Sprints, according to me, is the best fitness activity one can do. Because you not only get your cardio going to extreme intensity, you also build very good quality muscles. You develop your strength, your explosive power, and your speed. And as we get older, people tend to want to run longer distances with less intensity. But I have a few friends in the track and field club in their 60s, 70s, or 80s, and they still train for sprints. And they break world records in their age group. So I have studied those folks. I've asked them questions because I think they're amazing and they are real role models to show us what is possible to do if we keep training consistently throughout our whole life. Now the problem is, if you start doing sprints and you haven't done it for so long, you might very easily get injured. So you need to build up progressively, every week, a little more intensity, a little more distance, and still work a lot on your recovery, on your stretching mobility to avoid injuries. And you can do hyperbaric chambers for the recovery. You can do the ice bath, or just cold showers if you don't have access to an ice bath. You can get massages. You can do so many things to recover from running a lot. My friends that were in the national team with me back in the day, they told me the first thing they do when they get into a training camp is to put bricks on the 2 feet of the bed in order to raise the feet a little bit and help them with the blood flow. So you can flush out more toxins from your legs by doing so. What do you do for the weightlifting part though? Okay, calisthenics would count as weightlifting, the body weight exercises. Okay, plank targets your core. The goal is to build an exoskeleton around your waist. So not only the front, not only the six pack, but also your obliques, your lower back muscles. Then in every movement you're going to do in the gym, you will be able to carry through much more power if your core is stronger. And if your flexibility and mobility is on point, your technique on every movement, on a deep squat, on a deadlift, on lunges, on jumps, everything you would do, you'd have a better technique and a better form, and less risk of injuries. Because if you're too tight, you can't touch your toes, or you can't stretch your quads. Like, I have clients you would not believe, but they barely can go down. There's a lot of work to do with those. And long and passive stretches, like you do in yoga, over a minute, is often a good solution to improve the mobility of people that are not flexible at all. But then to get ready for your workout, you gotta do dynamic stretches. So for example, you would stretch your quads. Most people, they do like this. You need to get your hips forward, your knee back and your shoulder back. And then if you start pumping to activate as well your quad and stretch it at the same time, then you'll be ready for sprints. Sprinters are very strong quads and elastic muscle fibers. So it's not just about being strong by doing squats, but it's being also explosive and elastic. Now, as you get older, you don't want to be lifting as heavy as you used to do in your 20s, because your risk of injuries are going to be much greater. So, for example, I remember watching a video of Jean-Claude Van Damme. You guys know that actor? So I met him in Los Angeles. He told me that as he got older, he's been doing way higher reps, so sets of 30, 40, 50 reps, bodybuilding style, very light, but to really bring a lot of blood flow and oxygen to the muscles to heal long-term injuries. And if you just do heavy weights and try to break your personal best without being warmed up properly, you can have some troubles and long-term injuries. And us men, like I said earlier, we don't like to go to the doctor. So we think we're gonna get better tomorrow. But if tomorrow it doesn't get better, and if after 2 months you still have as much pain and injury and suffering, it means you need to go to the doctor, get an MRI done, and maybe you need surgery. Because if only an orthopedic surgery can save your joints, for example, I tore my ACL a year and a half ago, and there's no amount of rehab I could do that would help. I needed to rebuild it to get the surgery. And without the surgery, I would always have a loose and buckling knee. So I told myself, do I want to avoid the surgery and live the rest of my life with a knee that is only at 60-70%? Or do I want to get the surgery, get it fixed, go through 6 to 12 months of pain and rehab? And it was actually longer than this because the surgeon didn't do a great job and left a ball of scar tissue in my knee that was rubbing on my kneecap all the time. So I had the surgery 3 weeks ago, less than a month ago, to remove that ball of scar tissue. And some doctors were telling me, you can just get stem cells or BPC 157. But that's not the solution, because if nobody removes the scar tissue, it's not going to disappear magically. It's like having a spider webs inside of your joint that is always rubbing in your cartilage and creating more inflammation and swelling. So one of the important advice I give people is if you have long-term injuries, you need to go get an MRI, and if you need surgery, do it, because you don't want to spend the rest of your life making excuses for why you cannot run anymore because of that knee injury or that back injury. So get the right treatment, go through the rehab, and it might be 6 months of pain and suffering, but it's really worth it on the long run. To accelerate the healing, do a lot of massages, some stretches until you feel like the scar tissue of, because every time they make a hole in your body, the different layers of skins are going to be stuck together. So then you need to really pull on the scar to separate those layers of skins. Otherwise, you're going to have a very big scar that doesn't move smoothly on your skin. How did you break that? Oh, parachute. Yeah, that's. I've heard many stories of people being paralyzed after jumping like that. So, did you lose any height? Are you shorter now? So, you might have lost 1 inch on the height, no? Okay. So, I can relate to that because in exactly 10 years ago, I broke my back, L5S1, and that's why I didn't go to the Olympics. I originally came here in America to train for the Olympics after being 2 times national champion of France, and I was training very hard, lifting very heavy, and ego lifting, always trying to lift heavier, and I was pretty stupid because I ended up breaking my back. I almost ended up in a wheelchair. I lost my scholarship at school because I was on an athletic scholarship. So then that's why I became a private trainer, because I wanted to stay in America, finish my master's degree, and start using the skills that I had. Because when I became national champion, I was my own coach. I was kind of uncoachable, if you know what I mean. If I don't trust a coach, I'm not going to listen to him. But I was making my own research constantly. I was not doing my homework for school. I was watching slow motions of videos on YouTube of the world champion in the javelin throw, or in the long jump, or in the hurdles. And I was constantly analyzing the biomechanics, the technique.